welcome to Kiddick Farms. We're back with another episode of UMRV, Upper Mississippi River Valley, and today we are, we're back to picking up all of the stuff that we've left on the ground between our straw here on the barley field, and then also, if we tab over here, we've been pulling hay off of our big field that we're working on here over on the side of the farm. We have gotten all of the grass picked up and loaded up into the harvest stores already, and we're doing pretty good on materials. In fact, our haylage is just finished up processing, it looks like. So we've got a decent amount of silage now sitting here in the harvest store. We've got a bit of straw, enough for us to keep going, and a bit of hay. Hay is currently our limiting factor if I were to just run the time up. However, we're pulling a bunch of hay off of the field right now, so that's not going to be a big deal for much longer. As much as I wanted to move the time forward a little bit so that we could get some more feed generated, we've got to do it the slow way because we don't have enough feed to actually move us forward a full day. So I'm waiting for some feed to get into the barns here so that I can jump us forward. We're in the 1st of July here, and the goal for today is going to be to get these materials picked up off of the field and then combine these two fields together and likely reseed that other part of the field with grass as well. And then I want to put soybeans into these grass fields that we've already harvested the other ones. The soybeans we've got this month to continue putting those in. Now, I've been running this cart here, the loading wagon, forage box, I don't know what you want to call it, but man, it takes a lot to get the hay off of this field and back up to the farm. It's been running for a while now. We've done 3 trips back up to the farm, and we're not even all the way around the headlands at once. So I'm kind of leaning towards getting the baler back out. Because I think that we could bale this up and pick it up ourselves and get it back up to the farm a little bit quicker. But we'll see. I'm going to let this guy continue to go out here since we do still have some raking left to do. And I don't really have another tractor I'd want to put on the baler right now anyway. And what we're going to do is go grab the planter, one of the planters, and we're going to take it out and we're going to put soybeans in the 2 grass fields that we've got over here because I think that's going to give us a little bit more to do, another cash crop to work on here in the fall. And I've got a couple of planters sitting here. We've got to go find our 8RX. We left it around the farm here somewhere and run that, although I guess I could just grab the 8R. It's right there. Do I have any fertilizer in these tanks? I don't think I do. I want to say I had a little bit left in the 8RX. So let's go find it and we'll see how this works out. We left the 8RX right over here. And, we did not have anything left. Well, we're here now. We might as well grab this one. And we'll go grab a planter and head on out there. Now, I think these planters are set up to be able to do no-till, which is what I want to do into this grass, I think. We don't have any real need to bust out the tillage if I can just plant straight into the grass and hopefully have those beans pop up. I don't know, realistically, I know a lot of people no-till beans and corn, I'm pretty sure. So given that we just cut the grass and it should be pretty short, I'm thinking this is going to be okay. Both of these wheeled? No, there's a tracked one up here. I always have to match the planter with the vehicle, and the tracked planter goes with the 8RX. It only makes sense. There we go. We're going to go ahead and get this out there. Now the question is, before I start planting, should I have done some fertilizing with the manure spreaders here? I can't remember what we ended up with. The other thing I need to do is probably get a little bit of liquid fertilizer in these tanks since we don't have any in there now. Let's go see if we left some in the whatchamajigger, the nurse trailer over here on the other part of the farm. So if we've got some laying around, that would be ideal. I'm also needing to refill my fuel tank here, but oh, I'm not getting the option. There we go. Helps when you select the tractor, actually. And then this isn't showing that I've got any liquid fertilizer in it. If I did, where would it be? Would it be in this thing? That's herbicide. And that's herbicide as well. Wow, we actually don't have any liquid fertilizer. All right, well, that's okay. We can grab... Oh, wait. It's sitting right out here. I'm blind. All right, we're going to grab that. No need to leave that stuff sitting out in the weather. We should have plenty of room to hold both of these in our tanks, I suspect. We'll find out momentarily, at least. There it is. Oh, we've got plenty of room. And we're going to plant soybeans. And the goal is to not crash into our milk tanks. We have not successfully turned around in the yard here. My bad. We need a little bit more room. I always forget, even though the planters can turn pretty tight folded up, they still need a little bit of room to maneuver here. They don't turn quite as tight as the tractor itself is capable of. That's all right. We're going to go out this gate and back in the other side, and we're going to bring this right up over alongside the house and do that field first. Should be pretty easy. The field's small enough with this giant planter that I don't think we're even going to need to use course play. I think we're going to just tackle this ourselves. We don't have a whole lot else going on. The loading wagons are off doing their thing right now, so we can do our thing. Now, if I was in a hurry to get things done, I could start one off on a worker and then go get the other one going on the other field behind the house here, but I'm just not in that much of a hurry, to be honest. We've got plenty of time while we're waiting on the workers to do these other jobs, so we might as well enjoy it. We don't always take the time to do some of these jobs ourselves, and this will be fun. So what I'd like to do... I'm kind of going around this field the wrong way already. I should have gone down on my right-hand side is normally how I'd prefer to do a headland. In fact, I think we're going to do that. We're going to back up here a little bit and just get right on over on this side. Oh my gosh, we're everywhere. Tell you what, as long as I'm facing this way, we're going to just take off this headland pass as well. There we go. Now I can loop around the right way. Yeah, usually I would always take the right-hand side along the edge of a field when I was actually farming way back in the day, just because it was easier to look out the right-hand window while I was monitoring the planter monitor, you know, using the hydraulic levers and stuff like that. I always just found it easier to twist in my seat to the right rather than the left. So that's one of those things that occasionally carries over into my play styles here. We don't always do things in the most realistic manner, but every once in a while we hang on to some old habits. I'll be honest, I wasn't allowed to run the planter very often. At the time I worked on the farm, I was still just a teenager, and I'll be honest, I did not do nearly as good of a job as the owner of the farm that I work for did. He was always very particular about it, and I can totally understand that. Planting is one of those things where, you know, it's the start of everything for the season, so you want to make sure you get it right. Now, I'm just realizing I was fussing about having liquid fertilizer here in my tanks so that we could put some on when we're planting. We don't need to put any nitrogen down for soybeans. That's my bad. I wasn't thinking about that at all. I suppose I could turn off the automatic application rate, and we could bump this up a little bit just to put something down for later. And of course, while I was doing that, we made a total mess of that corner. So now I got to back up and do that again. We're already pretty good on the nitrogen in most of the areas. So I'm just going to put a little bit down since we've got it in the tanks and I'm talking about it. But I realize it's just not something you would normally do with your soybeans at all. All that backing up to get this little corner piece right here. That's okay. It is what it is. And then I need to get back on the proper long and narrow here. Maybe drop myself down into a more reasonable gear for going up a hill with a giant planter. I'm actually surprised a little bit that this planter pulls so hard going up the hill with this big 8RX on it. I would have thought that this thing could handle it no problem. Well, this will about wrap up our first round here. See if I can line myself up pretty good with the edge of the field. Nice. And then since we already did that little bit, I can hug left and fill in this gap that we left over. I like it. And that's our first headland pass. I'm curious to get an eye on our other equipment here and see how we're doing on picking up this straw and this hay. I can see ahead of me the straw. We've still got quite a bit of it there, so we're nowhere near getting done with that field. And the hay field is much larger, although he has a less distance to drive to get back to the farm to unload. So I think that's going to balance out. I'm betting these two probably finish about the same time. I am going to try and go straight down the lane here, and we'll do a little bit of row shut off, try and clean up the swaying rows we've got here. Thank goodness this is not a row crop ready map though. Oh, and our straw is just sitting there. I bet you when I restarted the game, I always forget that you have to click this little course play button over here on the auto drive window. And I bet you anything I forgot to click that. So when I get to the end row here, we're going to wade across the creek here and see if we can go help him out. Oh, I missed that little tiny bit. I tried to switch to the right just a little bit there to get it, and I don't think we did. It's going to be incredibly frustrating for us. I am going to try and turn back into our row here. We're going to have all kinds of little bits down here that we've missed. That's going to be more than infuriating. Well, let's leave this here for a moment and run across the ditch. Oh, big jump. We made it. If we just hop in here and turn that on. I've still got a course play course, so I should be able to just tell him to go. And he's trying to go to field 7, which is not really where we want to go. But, I mean, we're at field 7, but I think as soon as he gets there, he should realize he's full and continue on to the unloading point. All right, moment of truth. Let's see it. Yep, on they go. All right, I like it. And then this one I did set up correctly, so we've just started on the second headland pass over here, it looks like, because I can still see a headland pass on the end of the field here, so we're doing good. The workers are doing their thing still, so let's go ahead and jump back into our planting job. What I'm going to do, though, since we're already stopped, I'm going to lift up and we're going to go clean up these little missed bits. Realistically, I know that would just be the price you pay for driving crooked. You probably wouldn't come back and try and get these little tiny areas. However, we are playing farm sim and I want to maximize every inch of ground here, so I'm gonna do it. We're gonna cut across our rows and just make sure we're turning all of this soil to a seeded texture, just like so. Looking good. And back into the track we were in, hopefully. Looks like I'm crowded a little bit too far to the right. I'm going to try and balance my overlap out here a little bit both ways. And this thing is really pulling up this hill. I mean, it's a doozy of a hill, but I'm underwhelmed by the 8RX 4110's ability to pull his planer up the steep hills here like that. And it's not that steep of a hill. I suppose if I was running my gears more appropriately, I might have done better on that rather than just leaving it up in 16th and hoping it would figure it out. I thought this thing could plant at 12. Looks like it's 10 miles an hour, so I might drop us down a couple of gears here. 15 seems to be the sweet spot. Perfect. And this is going to wrap up putting soybeans into this field for us, which is going to be good. So I'm going to lift this up, and this is where I really wish there was a way to cut through across the creek there into that other field. It would save me a lot of time having to fold this thing up and move around to the other side, but it is what it is. And much like coming in here, I think I'm going to pull back out onto the road, and we're going to sneak around the farm rather than trying to sneak in by the bin site there. So here we go. Looks like our loading wagon for the hay is off on another round. It's always fun to see the workers going up and down the road. And whoa, the guy hauling the straw is really booking it there too. I'm gonna pull over and let him pass. He's in a hurry. No complaints. We got a lot of work to do. I want to see these guys keep at it. Sneak by the truck without running it over. And right back out into the field we go. Now, what I'm going to do, I think I might actually run course play on this one. So I'm going to sneak through the shed here. And the reason for that is course play actually runs around the field the opposite direction that I do. And so I want him to start right here, I think. Now, I realize I could change what direction course play goes around the field and all that good stuff, but sometimes it's just not worth the hassle of monkeying with it. So we're going to keep our defaults, and look at that. It's a round and a half and one headland pass. Did I? Oh, no, that's because we did this all wrong. We're going to open the generator. One tool, two headland passes. Generate. That looks a little bit better. And we'll go ahead and start him off on the first waypoint. Off we go. Now I'm going to keep applying the 25 of nitrogen. We'll also get a little bit of a boost from the soybeans afterwards. And that'll set us up nicely for some other crops going in here with needing very little additional fertilizer. In fact, we'll probably also come out here and spread some manure, especially on the bad parts of the field. There's a bunch of parts of this field that are in the red where we can toss down some manure. Maybe we'll run some of that by hand at some point after this next harvest. We'll have to see how that goes, but this guy should be good to go and able to do his thing. Got about 11 minutes to knock this field out. Shouldn't take too long then. And over here we've got a mostly full feed wagon. I'm going to go ahead and send this one on its way because I want to get that barn A up to snuff on feed just so that we can move forward another week, so to speak. I was going to put this up on 5X as well to give us our ability to kind of keep moving through the days rather than sitting on one day all the time and then me fast forwarding time off camera so much. And we're putting this in here. It's working so good. I love that we've got so many of these repetitive jobs kind of made easy. We don't need to sell our barley until January. I was actually coming in to check on our progress on the feed. Looks like that does push us over the daily amount we need in all three of our barns, so we are safe now to bump forward a day, which we will probably do soon. I'm just trying to think. We've got one more field that needs to be planted. That one up there. And since I've got course play going on one anyway, and we've got, 10, 11 minutes to run that, I might as well just grab the 8R and hook up to the other planter and take it out there and get that job done. I know I said we weren't in a hurry, but that'll be a job I can do manually while we let the worker handle the bigger field automatically. So I know knowing that we don't need any liquid fertilizer to do this as well means I can just run out there with some seed in the planter, which we have. It's magically soybean seed now too. And we'll just knock this little field out by hand. And that loading wagon's already heading back up to the farm. Just busy guy. It's just so slow. I do think that we're going to be better off getting the baler out and setting the baler off on this hay field at least. Otherwise, we'll be here forever. All right, let's see how long this takes. It shouldn't take very long. We don't have that much to plant, and it's a nice straight-ish or narrow-ish field. I'm trying to back this up a little bit. I pulled into the field a little bit too far and at too much of an angle. There we go. That should do it. Just drop this in. Taking one last glance down at the bottom, make sure that I set it up with soybeans. I don't think it would let me plant another crop that's out of season right now, even if I wanted to, but always pays to double check things. I have definitely planted the wrong crops in the past, and we're rocking a 9 miles an hour up this hill. Seems to be doing a little bit better than the 8RX was doing. Give it another gear. That way we've got some buffer if I decide to lift up and move around. Always hate running the RPMs all the way at the red line. And this is not going to take very long at all. I know we had a little bit of downtime. I went and checked on the feed and stuff like that, and we had to hook this up. But I almost wonder if I'll finish planting this field before Courseplay manages to finish the field behind the farm there. I guess I'm racing my own worker a little bit here. We'll see how it goes. I can see that he's not done yet. We're having a minor frame rate drop there. I don't know what's going on with that. Probably the Courseplay worker there trying to find a path back out to where he needs to start his work. But yeah, if you look across the farm at that field behind the house, we're probably done with the headland passes now, it looks like, and working on up-down rows somewhere. It's kind of hard to tell from here. I guess if I pop open the map, I can see the worker in the midst of all that equipment. Kind of hard to judge what's going on. I'm planting so crooked, we're not quite staying on the edge of the field row here. So I'm going to try and hug to the right just a little bit more. Trying to focus too much on what's going on in the other parts of the farm and not what we're actually doing. Ending up with some crooked rows here. Well, it wouldn't be the first time that I planted a bunch of crooked rows somewhere. I'm going to try and get this one going straight, at least on a GPS type reckoning. Even if we overlap a little bit, I'll have a nice straight set of rows for the drive back. If we just turn back around here, I can kind of keep an eye on all the other jobs on the farm. The only one I don't see is the straw loading wagon, but I know it's not anywhere near done because I can still see the rows of straw in the distance, so I suppose that's as telling as being able to see the driver itself. I just like to see that the driver's still moving, not hung up on something somewhere. Looks like we picked up additional overlap on the way back. That's all right. We've got, well, I suppose we should lift this up. We've got more than enough to get this field done in another round. Although now I've left myself with a very awkward little spot there. I'm going to ignore it. We're going to come back and fix it at the end when I'm facing the other way. I think that's going to be a little easier. And I'm overlapping a full 2 rows again, which seems unnecessary. As long as it meets up when we get a little bit closer here. Maybe I will jigger to the right just a smidge. Oh yeah, we're going to have an awkward strip the whole way down. See, if I hadn't overlapped by 2 to 3 rows on the previous run, this wouldn't have happened. It's all my fault, folks. And here we go, coming up on the last pass here. I've got some that I need to clean up to my left and then some back behind me. I'm going to turn left here first and just run this thing through the headland one more time. Pick up that little piece we missed the first time around. And then we just got to jump right back over here and knock out this little sliver. Now I can see we are indeed going to beat the other planter. He's still got at least one more pass over there because I see the grass on the top of the hill. So I was right. We were justified, I feel like, in busting out this other planter and getting this field planted. We hardly used any of our seed doing it. Although something tells me I've got a bunch of seeds sitting in the seed tender. So there's a chance I might want to top off the seed in both of these planters afterwards to see if I can get some more of that out of it at some point. I'm not sure I'm going to worry about it right now, though. We don't have any other use for that tender right now. In the fall, we might need it when we need to start putting on some lime on our harvested ground on some of our fields. I know we've got at least one big field that we didn't get around to doing that last time around. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And we're all folded up, so let's run this right back up to the farm here. I do need some fuel in this tractor, so I think what we're going to do is run by the fuel barrel here first, and then we'll put it back in the shed. Hopefully there's no loading wagons coming out of our entrance here. It doesn't look like it. Always hate running into traffic jams with the AI workers. Oh, we just cleared that fence post. Very nice, very nice. Nope, I'm not seeing anything for refilling the fuel. So what I'm going to do, weird things like this happen to me all the time. I'm going to back up here a bit. We're going to disconnect the planter, and then I'm going to pull up here. I'm looking at my keyboard to make sure I'm actually pushing R. I am. No dice. Look at that. Well, we're going to have a problem when we run out of fuel here. We might have to leverage our powers of easy dev tools, but that's very disappointing. I have no idea what would be causing that thing not to accept fuel. All my other vehicles seem to be able to refuel just fine. So strange, folks. I feel like every time I try to do something simple lately, I have an issue with it in Farm Sim here. I just want to be able to play your game sometimes, right? You don't want to have to constantly be trying to figure out these minor mysteries of the world, such as why I can't refuel, but there it is. It is what it is, and at least for the moment, there's not a lot I can do about it. All right, I think that'll work. We're more or less back as far as we want to go. Nice and out of the way. We'll be able to pull our other planter on through here as well. Speaking of, let's go check on that worker real quick here. I think we should be about done by now. Feels like it's been 10 plus minutes, and it does appear that we are done, except for this ugly strip down here in the corner, which I think I will go ahead and hit. Oops, guess we're saving the game first. Of course, that means we're going to have to unfold the planter first, so we'll get that process started here. I'm going to spin around real quick before it starts unfolding and catches us on the track. My bad. This is why you're not supposed to drive while you're unfolding it, I believe. And wow, is that straw loading wagon really only that far? It feels like it's been running forever, and it's done just a few passes. Maybe what I should do is grab the other loading wagon and put it out here and just start it on that course a little bit further down and have them both running in the same field, and then I can go put the baler in the other field and do bales. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards right now. But first, we're going to grab this grass over on the other hill and make sure this field is fully soybeaned. Here we go. Let's see how well this works. Perfect. I do like the flex on this planter. It seems to work pretty well. And as long as I'm here, we'll grab this little bit of grass just because, and get this thing all folded back up. Now, I guess I don't know which tractor I'd put on the baler. I could put the 8R on there, I suppose. It feels like overkill. But I do have a tendency, actually, with some of this haying equipment, I think, to have it be underpowered historically. So maybe it would only be justice to have something on there that's overpowered. Now, that said, I bet you our 8410 is done raking, so maybe we'll grab that. That's usually what I've been using for our baling tractor. I say usually. What I used last time I ran the baler, I think. So I'll go grab that tractor and we'll put it on the baler and see how it does. Should do fine. And I'm just gonna put this right there. Should be good to go. See if we can't locate our rake friend. He does appear to be done down here, and this would be why the hay pickup is taking so long. He's blocking the way, it would appear. Good to know. Glad we thought to check on it. Maybe we're being unfair in our judgment of work speed on these guys, given that we've been sitting here blocking the way. I did just get rid of that path. Luckily, we've still got it on the loading wagon there, in case I do want to run a baler over here. I was not even thinking about it. I have such a tendency to just drop the course plate course as soon as I jump into a vehicle that's done with it. Well, we'll get this driven back up to the farm here and make a decision on what we're going to do with loading wagons and baling and such. Maybe what we'll do is let the loading wagon finish the hay on the headlands here, just so that I'm not making any bales on the actual end rows where we're turning around. And I'll start the baler off over here on the up-down rows. And when the loading wagon's done with the headland rows, I'll move it over to the straw and see if I can get these two jobs done at the same time. The other thing that strikes me as we pull back into the field here is, if only I'd left that course play course on this tractor, I could have just started off right out of the gate without having to go find our other loading wagon tractor and copy it and all that nonsense. That's all right. It's easy enough to do. Set this guy down on center, and I do not want to grab the nearest just yet. We want to come down here and send him on his way. Let's see. Not that one. Looks like it comes up this side. So what I'll do, I'm going to start him here on this one. And we'll let the loading wagon take everything else up to this point. There we go. Right in here. Temporary nearest waypoint, and go. All right, this should work out great for us. And to space things out so that I can get that loading wagon going over here on the straw field before too long, hopefully. Looks like our straw pickup is, well, still doing its thing. And our hay is still crawling along slow as ever. And our TMR mixing is getting hung up a little bit by how slow it is to be getting produced by our production chain here. If I just take a look, we've got plenty of product. It's just inching through things. Our slurry situation is good. Our cow barns are as good as they're going to get until we can start making some more food. So really it's all about needing to move the clock forward a bit here. I think we've got everything else pretty well done. In fact, I could probably run the semis up through the BGA and let them unload just so that they're empty and in place when we do start moving the time forward. And that'll also make sure that the BGA has plenty of slurry to process overnight. It does eat through the slurry pretty quick once you get going. Yeah, everything else on the farm is looking good. I'm excited that we've got 3 little fields with some crops to harvest. And I know a lot of people have been telling me I need to upgrade this old combine we've got. And even though it's plenty large enough for the 3 small fields that we've got to harvest with it right now, I think we will find an upgrade for that combine and see how it goes. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I think that's going to be all for today's episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that thumbs up. Helps me out a lot. And that's all for today. Kedrick out.